My dear students, welcome to all. Today we are going to discuss another important area of our income tax under the head income from salary. In our previous lessons we have discussed section 15, 16 and 17. Now we move to another important compartment of income from salary, that's related to the allowances. We know allowance means is an additional benefit to meet an expense related to our rendering of services. I will give an example for to make it clear more. We know, suppose an employee working in a hill area. We know expenses related to the hill expenses related to the residents of hill area is somewhat greater than the expenses related to the resident of normal place. So in order to meet these additional expenses, employer may offer some extra amount as hill area allowance. Is an allowance. Another important allowance, example for another important allowance, we know that festival allowance. I will give another example for festival allowance, that is we have in Kerala, people are concerned, we are celebrating Onam as a Kerala celebration. Almost all 100% people are celebrating this Onam in our state. So, government of Kerala providing festival allowance for Onam as rupees 2,500 or 2,750. So, this is an allowance, is a festival allowance in order to meet the expense related to the Onam celebration. Like this. An additional amount which is offered by an employer to meet any expenses related to the service, that is called allowances. There are two types of allowance, general allowance and special allowance. Today in our video we are discussing matter related to the general allowances. We know special allowance means as per section 10 subsection 14, special allowance are exempt to the extent spent for the purpose. That means special allowance are which is received but not spent by the employer for the purpose is fully taxable. Suppose an employee received rupees 100 for meeting a special expense related to his service. He is not able to spend these rupees 100 for this expense, so the entire amount is taxable. I will give another example that uniform allowance is a special allowance. In a situation, an employer offer 100 rupees or 500 rupees for purchasing and stitching uniform. Employee did not pay any amount or did not spend any amount for purchasing and stitching this uniform. 500 rupees is taxable. Same as an employee spend the entire amount for this purpose, it's no need of pay any amount as tax. That's the mechanism towards these special allowances. Today we are going to discuss allowances and its tax implications. Let us see, we have discussed the meaning of allowance. Employees nowadays provide different types of allowances on their to their employees depending upon the types of employment, nature of the work, place of residence, place of work, etc. Allowances are of three types. First one, that is fully taxable, and second one, that is partly taxable, and the last one that is fully exempted allowance. We know fully taxable means, from the term itself it is very clear. Fully taxable means the entire amount, whatever amount received by an employee is fully taxable. No deduction can be claimed towards these allowances. That is called fully taxable. An employee received rupees 500 or 1000 rupees as tax under the category of fully taxable. So the entire amount is liable to pay tax. Another one that is partly taxable. Under these items, any amount received by an employee is taxable to a certain extent. Some deduction can be claimed towards these allowances coming under the category of partly taxable. And the last one that is fully exempted or tax-free. Fully tax-free allowance means those allowances which are received by an employee is fully tax-free. No tax is liable to pay. So these are all the important types of, first one fully taxable, partly taxable, and fully exempt or tax-free allowances. Let us see first one, very important question as far as public exams are concerned. What are the different types of fully exempted allowances? It's very simple area. Fully exempted allowances are four types, only four types. Let us see one by one. These expenses are fully tax free or fully exempted. Fully tax free when an employee received allowance as foreign allowance, sanctuary allowance, allowance to employees, per diem allowance. These allowances are fully tax free, no need of paying any amount or a single amount as a tax towards this kind of allowances. First one, that is foreign allowance. Is an allowance provided to a government employees for services outside India that's fully exempt. This kind of allowances are offered towards employees like ambassadors or foreign what we say that for foreign diplomatic persons, etc. So this entire amount is tax free. Then another one that is sanctuary allowance. Sanctuary allowance means it's an allowance which is paid to High Court judges or Supreme Court judges. That means regulating the behavior or expense on moral or religious ground. Sanctuary allowance is paid to high officers, member of parliament, etc. to meet their expenses on clothing, food, so as to restrict luxury expenditure. These allowances to give High Court or Supreme Court judges is fully tax free. Otherwise, they are spending much more amount than they are allowed. Okay. The next one that is allowances to employees of UNO. We know United Nations Organization. So any allowance or any amount as allowance to employees of United Nations Organization is fully tax free. And the last one that is per diem allowance. Per diem allowance means that refers to a specific amount of money that an organization or institution allowed to an employee to spend per day. That is called per diem allowance, in order to recover or to cover living and traveling expenses in connection with the official matters or work. It's an allowance given to an employee or a worker for completing task or going on tour away from home. Per diem allowance is fully tax free or exempted allowance. It's an allowance which is paid to an organization to its employee to meet per day or to cover or to meet living and traveling expenses in connection with the work. So these are all the important four types of allowances which are fully tax free or exempted allowances. Now we can see what are the taxable which are what are the allowances which are fully taxable. Any amount received is fully taxable. No need of calculation on these regards, only because of any amount or any single amount or any huge amount which is received as this category is fully taxable, can be added along with the basic salary. Important among them are first one DA. We know we are discussed in our previous classes, that is dearness allowances. Some important fully taxable allowances are listed here. This list is not specific and complete. While we are going through the different text material or Google, we can see n number of fully taxable allowances. Out of these, we are listed here some of the fully taxable allowances only for exam point of view. First one, that is dearness allowance. That is intended to give a relief to an employee against the increase in cost of living. Day by day, the expenses related to the living, cost of living is increasing day by day. In order to meet this standard of living, employer may offer some amount as an allowances to meet these daily expenses. This called dearness allowance. Next one, that is interim relief allowance. When there is an unfavorable delay in any salary revision or salary renovation, interim relief is provided provided to the employee. This is fully taxable. The next one, CCA, that is means city compensatory allowances. It's an extra amount for meeting the cost of living in city. It's fully taxable. The next one, that is project allowance. Project allowance may be provided to employee working in a special projects. The next one, that is medical allowance. Is an allowance is a fixed amount of allowance may be provided by an employer to the employee to meet probable medical expenditure. Then next one, that is tiffin allowance. From the word, it is very clear. It's an amount which is provided to meet the food expenses of an employee. The next one, that is servant allowance. It's an amount which is offered to an employee for meeting expenses related to the domestic servant, or additional servant allowance to the employee so that they can employ their own servant. All these servant allowances are fully taxable. The next one, that is proctor allowance. Proctor allowance is also known as wardenship allowance. So it is very clear. Wardenship allowance means is an allowance to meet oversee dormitory or examination, etc. It's a special allowance given to those who look after hostel or boarding, etc. I will give an example for getting clear idea about proctor allowance or wardenship allowance. Suppose a teacher in charge of hostel may get a wardenship. So proctor allowance or wardenship allowance is fully taxable. In our situations, in our college, some of the teachers are acting or teachers are in charge of warden in our hostel. She or he may provide an additional benefit as proctor allowance. In our situations, it is not maybe there. Even though this happen in our nearby situations. So this amount, in terms of this amount, it is fully taxable. The next one, that is deputation allowance. Deputation allowance is also known as substitute allowance. Is an allowance which is given by an employer to employee to meet, or employee may be deputed for some other jobs or assignments which is not his normal duty. For example, a teacher in charge may be deputed for admission procedure as admission nodal officer or something like that, or he may be or she may be deputed as some research assistance or something like that. He may be giving some additional amount as a deputation allowance. This amount is also fully taxable. The next one, that is overtime allowance. It's very clear from its term meaning. Employees who are required to work overtime may get overtime allowances or overtime benefit. It's fully taxable. Then another one, that is marriage allowance. This is an allowance given to meet the expenditure on marriage of children of an employee. These allowances are also fully taxable. Then another important allowance, that is non-practicing allowance. We are commonly saying that government employees or government doctors, government professionals are not working in private sector. It's an offense only because of they are receiving non-practicing allowances. This is an allowance received by an employee having professional qualification like doctors, engineers, or chartered accountants for not carrying their professional practice along with the employment. Then another one. Next, that is family allowance. It means an allowance is given by the employer to employee based on the number of dependent members in the family of the employee. Is also fully taxable. Then next, lunch or refreshment allowance. It's just like a tiffin allowance. Is also fully taxable. Even though if the employer provides free lunch or dinner, it's not taxable. It's a perquisites. It will be discussed in our perquisites session in detail. Then next one, that is special allowance. It's an allowance to meet some expense related to the special occasion or special purposes or duties, is fully taxable. The next one, that is holiday trip allowance. It's extra amount to meet holiday trip expenditure, is also fully taxable. Then as we are discussed in next one, that is festival allowance, we are discussed. It's also fully taxable. The next, transport allowance, any amount which is granted to an employee to meet his expenditure for the purpose of commuting between his place of residence and the place of office. This amount towards this transport is fully taxable with effect from 1st April 2018. So these are all the important fully taxable allowance which are discussed here only for the exam point of view. Many allowances which are as a part of salary, we can see while we are going through the problems. Let us see all these allowances at the time of crossing questions or practical problems. We can't discuss the entire taxable allowances here itself. So all of you please go through the text materials for getting more clear idea about fully taxable allowances. Now next we have partly taxable allowance in detail. While we are discussing partly taxable allowance, there include some calculations. For example, house rent allowance, it's partly taxable, partly tax free. So we have to calculate, we are bounded to calculate how much amount that is taxable, how much amount that is tax free. So there is a problem, probable questions for paragraph questions, etc. So we will discuss in detail these partly taxable allowances in another classes. Hope you are getting clear idea about our today's lecture. Thank you to all.